Shalom, shalom. Shabbat shalom, Mishpachah. Shabbat shalom. Turning off the volume of my phone. Shabbat shalom. Shabbat shalom, Mishpachah. Shabbat shalom. Welcome to YAHUAH'S Sabbath Day Ministries. Welcome, 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 Mishpachah. We're going to get into the lesson because we know that on this YouTube timing, we don't have a lot of time. We don't have a lot of time, Mishpachah. Mishpachah. We're going to be in the book of Yashar. We're just starting this, and we're going to be starting in chapter 1 in the book of Jasher, which is Yashar. We're starting in chapter 1. Chapter 1. We're going to pray, and then we're going to get started. We ask that you bless the lesson on today. We ask that you allow the lessons to pierce our hearts like a two-edged sword, circumcising our hearts unto you, purging us, cleansing us, purifying us according to your will, Abba Yahuwah, so we can function in your will and your ways and your commandments and your laws and your feast days, Abba Yahuwah. We thank you for your grace and your mercy. We ask you to forgive us for everything that we have done, said, and thought of that's been unrighteous unto you. We thank you, and we ask that you touch the hearts of everyone that's listening and draw them unto you. And through your only begotten Son, Yahusha, YAHUAH'S, HaMashiach, Hallelujah. All right, people, don't get into the lesson. Get into the lesson again. We are YAHUAH'S Sabbath Day Ministries. I am Counselor YAHUAH'S, and we're going to get started in the first chapter of the book of Jasher, Yashar, the first chapter. And it reads, and Abba Yah said, let us make man in our own image, after our likeness. And Abba Yah created man in his own image. And Abba Yah formed man from the ground, and he blew into his nostrils the breath of life, and man became a living soul, endowed with speech. And Adonai said, it is not good for man to be alone. I will make unto him a helpmeet. And Adonai caused a deep sleep to fall upon Adam, and he slept. And he took one of his ribs, and he built flesh upon it, and formed it, and brought it to Adam. And Adam awoke from his sleep, and behold, a woman was standing before him. And he said, this is a bone of my bones, and it shall be called woman, for this has been taken from man. And Adam called her name Eve, which we know her name is Kawah in Hebrew, for she was the mother of all living. And Abba Yah blessed them and called their names Adam and Eve in the yom that he carried them, and in the yom that he created them. And Abba Yah said, be fruitful and multiply and fill the earth. And Abba Yah took Adam and his wife, and he placed them in the Garden of Eden to dress it and to keep it. And he commanded them and said unto them, from every tree of the garden you may eat, but from the tree of the knowledge of good and evil you shall not eat. For in those days that you eat thereof, you shall surely die. And when Abiyah had blessed and commanded them, he went from them. And Adam and his Isha, Isha is wife in Hebrew, his wife dwelt in the garden according to the commandment which Abiyah had commanded them. And the serpent which Abiyah had created with them in the earth came to them to entice them to transgress the command of Abiyah when he had commanded them, which he had commanded them. And the serpent enticed and persuaded the woman to eat from the tree of knowledge. And the woman hearkened to the voice of the serpent, and she transgressed the word of Abiyah, and took from the tree of the knowledge of good and evil, and she ate. And she took from it and gave also to her husband, and he ate. And Adam and his wife transgressed the command of Abiyah, which he commanded them. And Abiyah knew it, and his anger was kindled against them, and he cursed them. And Abiyah drove them that day from the Garden of Eden to till the ground from which they were taken. And they went and dwelt at the east of the garden. And Adam knew his wife Eve, and she bore 2 sons and 3 daughters. And she called the name of the firstborn Kaan, Cain, in English, but is Kaan, saying, I have obtained a man from Adonai. And the name of the other she called Abel, which Abel. And she said, in vanity we came into the earth, and in vanity we shall be taken from it. And the boys grew up, and their Abba gave them a possession in the land, and Canaan was a tiller of the ground, and Abal a keeper of sheep. And it was at the expiration of a few years that they brought an approximating offering to Adonai. And Canaan brought from the fruit of the ground, and Abal brought from the firstling of his flock, from the fat thereof. And Abiyah turned and inclined to Abal and his offering, and a fire came down from Adonai from the heavens and consumed it. And unto Canaan and his offering Adonai did not turn, and he did not incline to it, for he had brought from the inferior fruit of the ground before Adonai. And Canaan was jealous against his brother Abal on account of this, and he sought a pretext to slay him. And in some time after, Canaan and Abal, his brother, went one day into the field to do their work, and they were both in the field, and Canaan tilling and plowing his ground, and Abal feeding his flock. And the flock passed that part which Canaan had plowed in the ground, and it sorely grieved Canaan on this account. And Canaan approached his brother Abel in anger, and he said unto him, what is there between me and thee, that thou comest to dwell and bring thy flock to feed in my land? And Abal answered his brother Canaan and said unto him, what is there between me and thee, that thou shalt eat the flesh of my flock and clothe thyself with their wool? And now, therefore, put off the wool of my sheep, with which thou hast clothed thyself, and recompense me for their fruit and flesh, which thou hast eaten. And when thou shalt have done this, I will then go from thy land as thou hast said. And Canaan said to his brother, Abal, surely if I slay thee this day, who will require thy blood for me? And Abal answered Kaan, saying, surely Abiyah, who has made us in the Eretz, the earth, he will avenge my cause, and he will require my blood from thee, shouldest thou slay me. For Adonai is the judge and arbiter, and it is he who will require man according to his evil, and the wicked man according to the wickedness that he may do upon the Eretz. And now, if thou shouldest slay me here, surely Abiyah knoweth thy secret views, and will judge thee from the evil which thou didst declare to do unto me this day. And when Kaan heard the words which Abal, his brother, had spoken, behold, the anger of Kaan was kindled against his brother Abal for declaring this thing. And Kaan hastened and rose up and took the iron part of his plowing instrument, with which suddenly smote his brother and slew him. And Kaan spilt the blood of his brother Abal upon the earth, and the blood of Abal streamed upon the earth before the flock. And after this, Kaan repented, having slain his brother, and he was sadly grieved, and he wept over him, and it vexed him exceedingly. And Kaan rose up and dug a hole in the field, wherein he put his brother's body, and he turned the dust over it. And Abiyah knew what Kaan had done to his brother. And Abiyah appeared to Kaan and said unto him, where is Abal, thy brother that was with thee? And Kaan dissembled and said, I do not know. Am I my brother's keeper? And Adonai said unto him, what hast thou done? The voice of thy brother's blood crieth unto me from the ground where thou hast slain him. For thou hast slain thy brother and hast dissembled before me, and didst imagine in thy heart that I saw thee not, and knew all thy actions. But thou didst this thing, and didst slay thy brother for naught, and because he spoke rightly to thee. And now, therefore, cursed be thou from the ground which opened its mouth to receive thy brother's blood from thy hand, and wherein thou didst bury him. And it shall be when thou shalt till it, it shall no more give thee the strength as in the beginning. For thorns and thistles shall the ground produce, and thou shalt be moving and wandering in the earth until the day of thy death. And at that time, Kaan went out from the presence of Adonai, from the place where he was, and he went moving and wandering in the land towards the east of Eden, he and all belonging to him. And Kaan knew his Isha, his wife, in those youngs, and she conceived and bore a son, and he called his Shem Anak, saying, in that time Adonai began to give him rest and quiet in the earth. And at that time Kaan also began to build a city, and he built the city, and he called the Sham, which is name of the city, Anak, according to the name of his son. For in those young days Adonai had given him rest upon the earth, and he did not move about and wonder as in the beginning. And Erod was born to Anak, and Arad begot Micaiah and Micaiah begot Methuselah. Woo, that's a lot. In that first chapter, there's a lot. But we're going to briefly go over what is bringing out. We see in the beginning here that creation, Abba Yah, he brings forth creation. The creation, he creates man, he creates woman, and he puts them in the garden and gives them instructions concerning what he wants them to do. He gives them instructions according to the tree of, of good and evil, of the knowledge of good and evil. And he tells them, this is the commandment. He tells them, do not eat. This is one of the commandments he tells them. For the other one is when he put them in the garden, he tells them to maintain the garden, to oversee the garden. But now he's getting into a deeper commandment with them. He tells them, do not eat of the tree of the knowledge of good and evil. Then we see that Hasatan, the serpent, he comes in, he's being deceitful. He's being deceitful, and he comes in and he tells Kawah, Eve, he entices her, he beguiles her, he confuses her, he leads her into transgressing against the commandment of Abba Yah, which he told them not to eat of this tree. So once he does tempt her, they do eat, they become corrupt, they become disconnected from Abba Yah because they broke a commandment. When you break a commandment, there are penalties to breaking commandments. And we need to understand that, because once you break one, you break them all. So we see that she is beguiled. They are put out away from the tree. And then they begin to have children. They begin to have Cain, which came, and Abel, Abal. Cain is the firstborn. He is the tiller of the ground. And Abel, Abal, he's a shepherd. He's the keeper of the sheep. So after a while, they start bringing their offerings. They bring their offerings unto Abba Yah to offer up an offering to him. And Abel, Abal, he offers up the firstlings of his sheep, his flock, which is acceptable by Abba Yah. Abba Yah accepts his offering. And it says that he comes down and he inclines and he accepts Abel's offering. And he comes down and a fire comes down, and Adonai, he consumes it from the Shemayim, from heaven. So he accepts that. So when Cain brings his offering unto Abba Yah, he brings an inferior offering. And it's not about him bringing the fruit and compared to blood. It was inferior, because we do know in some of our feast days that Feast of Weeks, we bring the wheat, we bring the fruit of our harvest unto Abba Yah. But we bring the best. We bring the best of it. We don't bring inferior fruit to Abba Yah. We don't bring the damaged fruit. So these things we have to take into consideration, that Abba Yah just don't take anything, and we're just not to give him anything. So Cain, he is hurt because he wanted Abba Yah to accept his offering like he accepted his brother's offering, Abel. But he didn't either he didn't consider, or it was just his nature not to give righteously. So he gives him inferior fruit. He gives him an inferior offering. And Abba Yah doesn't take inferior. We have to give him our best. And in giving him our best, we give him the first. When we get our income in, we give him the first 10. The first 10. We don't give him the last part of the 100. We don't give him the bottom. We give him the top, because it all belongs to him anyway. And we don't give to him, he take it all. So Kaan, he finds out that his offering is inferior. So he gets angry with his brother. And now he's against his brother. Now he starts to steal from his brother. So now he wonders why Abel is over here feeding the sheep in his field, in Kaan's field. But Cain has started stealing from Abel. He steals his sheep. He takes the wool from the sheep, making clothes for himself. So Abel tells him, okay, you return what you repent, and you return what belongs to me, and then I'll get out of your field. I will take my sheep and stop letting them feed on your fruit when you stop stealing and killing my flock. So Kaan doesn't like that. So Kaan comes back and he gets angry, and he tells him, what if I slay you? Who's going to know? Who's going to know if I do this evil against you? Sometimes we think that when we do things in the dark, that Abba Yah can't see. Like he's blind. He can see in the darkness. He created the darkness. So we think what we do behind closed doors, maybe man can't see us, but Abba Yah sees it all. He sees it all. And he knows, he knew the heart of Kaan. And he knew that he was going to have to deal with him differently. Abal knew the heart of his brother, and he tells him, you slay me, Abba Yah is going to revenge me. He's going to avenge me. He's going to take care of it. Sometimes we let Abba Yah fight our battles. We will turn out on top all the time. All the time. Just let him fight your battles, people. Let him fight your battles. So he does this thing. Kaan slays his brother. He spills his blood on the ground. The blood cries out to Abba Yah and lets him know, okay, he has slayed, my brother has slayed. Okay. Abba Yah comes to Kaan and asks him, what have you done? And this famous saying that a lot of people know, Kaan responds, am I my brother's keeper? Well, heck yeah, we are our brother's keeper. We are our sister's keeper. But he's saying this like, I don't know where he is. He's being deceitful himself. This is the fruit of eating from the tree of the knowledge of good and evil. It brings forth evil. It brings forth good, but it also brings forth evil. And Cain is the prime example of the evil part that it produces. And this is the way Hasatan works. He wants to slay us. He wants to kill us. He wants to destroy us. Well, Abba Yah deals with Kaan and he curses him. And he makes him a vagabond. Have you known people that are wanderers and just can't get settled? They just can't be in peace. They're always moving around. They just can't be settled in one place. They can't be content. They're just wondering and wondering and wondering with no peace and don't know why. Well, some curses come upon them. The curse of Cain, the curse of Kaan may be upon them. So he wanders around like a vagabond with no home. And then later on, Abba Yah has mercy upon him. and he settles him, gives him shalom, gives him some peace, and then he starts to have children, bring forth children. So this is chapter 1 of the book of Yashar, the book of Asher. And examine this. If you don't have this book, get it so you can start studying it, because it starts to fill in some of the gaps from the books, the Apocrypha, that were not added or taken out, or what or disconnected from the regular books that are in the version of the King James Version. These fill in some of the gaps that a lot of us are not familiar with. When you start examining the book of Jasher or the book of Enoch, or the book of Jubilee, then you'll start to understand that these things fill in the gaps that are missing from the King James Version and these other versions that the writers decided to take out, or the ones that put these books together decided to take out and keep from us. So get these books and study them, so you will know, okay, what has happened. The gaps will begin to be filled in. Well, thank you so much, Mishpachah, for joining in with us on this lesson of the creation of man, the fall of man, the actions of man, and the repercussions of doing evil, doing what we want to do, thinking that we can do things in the dark and Abba Yah don't see us. The conception, the misconception of doing things in dark, unseen things are not seen. That's a lie from Hasatan and from the pits of hell, because Abba Yah can see everything. Everything. He created darkness. He can see through darkness. He can shine the light on darkness. So come use these scriptures to repent. It says that Cain repented. He repented after he killed his brother, but repenting doesn't mean that you're going to go without punishment. You're going to have to pay for what you've done. We just need to pray that Abba Yah have mercy upon our punishment, because he could have slayed Cain. He could have slayed him. He could have killed him right then. But he has some other things in store for Cain. So continue to visit with us and continue to keep up with the lessons, and continue to visit with us. We are YAHUAH'S Sabbath Day Ministries. I am Counselor YAHUAH'S, and here's a flyer you can visit us. Pull it back far enough so you can see all of it. Visit us. If you have any questions or any concerns, or you want to get on the YouTube or the Zoom lesson, just give us a call at 915-633-4036, and we will be more than welcome to give you the links to our lessons. And at 3 o'clock, we'll be coming back with you at 3 o'clock, and the lesson will be the armor of Yah. The armor of Yah. So come back and tune in with us at 3 o'clock. Shalom, Mishpachah. Shalom.